But let's go ahead and review this book.
Sure.
And this book came out 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Right.
it was kind of slim pickings this last week.
Yep.
And but I read this book, and I want to know your thoughts on it first.
So for me, I mean, it starts you off in a kind of fantasy realm, which is my wheelhouse. I've always loved that. And inside the book, you have a group of young adults or young kids that are coming of age, and it's practice to go on a quest before you enter into adulthood. Yeah. And there's one particular kid who's different than the rest, and he has dreams of our world and what it looks like to have technology and things like that. And so as far as all these kids doing quests, they do all these smattering of different things, but his quest is to find our world, and he has to go to the FOLKLORDS in order to find a way to be able to get there. And that's kind of how the story begins. I love the concept. Yeah. I think it really set up everything for what book 2 is going to be. They did a lot of character development in a very short period of time, which I liked. Wasn't 100% crazy about the artwork, but at the same time, the vehicle I thought was great. I'm on board. I can't wait to see what issue 2 is going to be like.
Okay, this is out of left field.
Okay,
and I haven't shared this with him, but I read this book and I felt the same way you did. But as I thought about it a little bit, I tried to find things that relate to that story. And like I said, this is way out there. Have you ever seen the movie The Village?
Yeah.
Okay. What if this book is like that? What if this kid is seeing these things because they actually do exist? And what if this place where they're at is something like the village? Like the elders have decided to create this, utopia society type thing, and they are not letting people know that what is actually outside the forest type thing. Because in the book, they're limited to where you can go.
And as soon as the FOLKLORDS are mentioned, they're like, that's something you don't do. Yes. Right? Just like in the village, I'm sure that's why you're saying you don't go beyond the boundaries because these things are going to come after you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get where you're going with that, and that would be an interesting concept. We're going to see going forward. But
now I'm loosely using that as a reference, and I'm sure that when they wrote this book, maybe that might have popped in their mind. Obviously, there is more of fantasy and magic involved in this book.
Sure.
I mean, there's like orgs and stuff like that.
Right.
Another scenario would be literally like taking Frodo from Lord of the Rings and sticking him here in Portland, Oregon, type thing, and seeing how that went. Type thing. But I liked it. It was the opposite of what you think it was going to be. Okay,
right.
You think that like when I look at a book like this and I'm like, oh, this kid, he's living with us type thing, and he imagines this make-believe world.
Right,
okay?
Right. They turned the trope upside down.
Yeah, they turned it upside down.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
I did too. I think my favorite part of it was they had all these other kids that were coming of age, right, alongside of their main character, and the quests that they were going on, which many were mentioned, were all the different types of quests that you would normally see in a fantasy world. Yeah. Going to save a damsel in distress, going to kill this particular creature, going to find this particular treasure, and I just really enjoyed all the different quests that they were mentioning. And then, of course, our main character has the quest to find us. Yeah. Right. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But turning that trope on its head, I think, is an interesting concept. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, the question we're going to be asking, who had the best year 2019? Boom Studios is right there.
Boom has had a really good year.
They've put out some titles this year that are just like knocked it out of the park.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what people say. So make sure you check out that video on Wednesday. It's your sneak peek video. There's no reason you shouldn't watch it because it shows you all the new books, and it is the #1 most watched preview for new comic book video on YouTube, and that's all because of you guys.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.